Well, I'm kind of at the next stage here. There was some paint that peeled, and I had some red touch-up, and so I very carefully cleaned up, taped off, spot painted the places that peeled there, and a little bit over on this corner, just for corrosion protection more than anything. I mean, nobody will ever see it down there. Dust from something. This is damp with a little bit of alcohol, so my finishing wipe on here was with denatured alcohol and gloves. I'm not wearing right now, but okay. So the holes that were on the side where the molding screwed in, they want you to put a dab of the butyl tape in those holes, and I've done that on both ends. The service manual shows, I know I measured with tape in the beginning, but the service manual shows a dimension from the top of this bump back, from the bottom of it forward. And I believe it's 1 3/16 inches this way, and it's 13/16 of an inch that way. And they want that area to be applied with urethane, this one, primer. Gotta get the right word, primer. They want, because that's where the urethane will get spread. So there's a measured area across. These are my materials. This is butyl tape. It's 5/16 diameter. It's almost round. I think it was, but it's defined as 5/16. This one is the foam tape, and it's 5/16 in diameter, or 5/16 in thickness and 1/4 inch wide. What I've decided, having looked at everything, is that the original tape, the original foam, only had adhesive on one side, and this has adhesive on both sides. That kind of puts me in a little bit of a spot, because I think what will give me trouble, it'll glue to the lid, but I don't want it to glue to the body or to the glass, or I won't be able to slide it back and forth and adjust it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little dish soap to the one side so that it can't stick after I get it installed. Second thing is, the way the factory built this car, the strip goes all the way across, and I showed you earlier, it goes all the way across to the ends. All the pictures I see in the book of the factory seal indicate that it goes down to the end and it makes a turn, just like the butyl does. And I'm a little bit trying to decide what to do, and I think what I'm going to do is, since the factory built it straight across, I'm going to run it straight across, and then I'm going to run a separate piece down along the side, and hey, why can't you have the best of both worlds? So let's start by putting this down all the way across. So this is a like 15-foot roll. So, and again, the book shows putting both of them at the bottom of this lip, and the factory, as it was built, was a little further back, and the butyl tape is kind of on the edge. I think I'm going to try to duplicate that, but maybe be just a small bit further forward. So let me see what I can do here. We'll take this right on out to the end. Right there. Goes right to there. And it if I need to, I could probably pick it up and move it. But I think I got it pretty doggone close. If I took a look at butyl, I can lay that in here. And again, it'll lay mostly in the lower part and run up to the top. Now, so that I don't contaminate that, let's do two things. First, I said I was going to turn the corner with this. Put a second strip down below. So let's do that. So I'm not entirely sure the function of the tape. It'd be nice to talk to the body engineers that said, hey, I got to have this second strip in here. Sometimes you use these kinds of strips to hold down wind noise, and sometimes you use them as I'll call it a backup, so that when this butyl crushes, it doesn't push out, it pushes back the other way, and it can sometimes be just for positioning. So, and maybe it gives you a nicer edge when you don't see the edge of the butyl. Can't tell for sure. We'll put a piece on both ends. And it does intrude into the area where they want urethane to go, but I think it all blends together in the end. So we'll put this guy down in here, because the instructions are to put the foam tape down first, put the butyl down second, get them all lined up, and then apply the urethane primer and urethane. Alright, so that's about right. Set that to the side. Here's the, okay, and that'll drop right in there. My little marks are still visible, so, okay, before I install that, let's go ahead and pull the paper off. I spent some time thinking about this. I wasn't quite sure. There's no good way to take that adhesive off. I thought about cutting it, but the foam is pretty flexible and you really can't cut it very well. So I did some experimenting. What I would do next time, you can buy this foam tape, double-sided or single-sided. Not having taken this apart before, based on the descriptions I had seen, I sort of expected it needed to be double-sided. It was a mistake. If I did it again, I would buy the tape with adhesive on only one side. I don't want to get this down where the butyl has to go. So I want to be very careful here. This will dry in a few minutes. I just want a film of it so that the adhesive won't stick. Very, very light coating. I don't want it running all over the place to sort of deactivate that adhesive. I was really thinking what I probably should have done. Oops, and I spilled some. Get that out of there. If I was really thinking, I should have probably just gone ahead and bought single and double at the same time. And I could have picked which one I want. But hindsight's 20/20, you know. And measured alcohol is poisonous. Like I said before. Good. That's good. Also found the side cutters do a pretty good job of cutting some of these tapes, as opposed to trying to find a way to get a razor knife through it. So let me just double check here. Okay. Now we're going to take this one. I know when I did this, when I took it apart, there was kind of an extra dose at the ends. So we'll take that on. And the book really shows both strips really contacting each other. So we'll lay them right up against. Same thing, I'm going to allow that to double back a little bit, just make sure we have enough. And then, I'm going to try to go around it with urethane as well. So just to give you a closer look, okay, so here's the foam tape all the way across on the back side. And then short piece of the foam tape there. The butyl in between makes the corner here. And you can kind of see that they're both just laying side by side. Like so. And probably I could have just taken this and bent it around, but I don't think this can hurt to be double duty. The top layer of foam will kind of protect this area, and the second one will keep it from coming in. The butyl will seal it, and the urethane will go there. So, which is where you seal to the glass with that little plastic piece. Okay, I just want to make sure this is dry. So you got just a dry paper towel here. next step now. I did make one change while the camera was off. At the ends where I put that piece of foam in there, I decided to shorten it. I replaced it and put a shorter piece in so that I could leave that section open and put urethane in there instead and make sure that it sticks to the butyl. So I'm about ready to put the primer down. I have all the old sealant off. There's still a little bit of black here, which I think is the primer from the last go-around that doesn't come off without taking the paint off too. So, dang, I lost my mark again. Every time I clean this, the Sharpie gets washed off. Let's do this one more time here. 1 3/16 inches from the top. I must have made a stray wipe. It's right there. Lost my mark about 4 times trying to do this. So, this is the primer for the urethane and a dauber. Alright. They say to let it sit for 5 minutes. Sit and dry for 5 minutes. Let's try to keep it from expanding too far. For all the precise measuring to the 1/16 of an inch, this stuff doesn't really measure that precisely. It rolls where it wants to go. So we'll let that stuff sit. Wipe the excess off over here too. I was trying to be cautious with it, but alright, 5 minutes. And then after 5 minutes, we spread the urethane on it. Sat long enough. Let's see if we can get some urethane on here now. Basically, I want to cover that area. I just brought a plastic knife. They want you to spread it, make sure it's even. Not sure exactly how thick to lay it, they don't really say. But it was fairly thick on there when I took it apart, so. So Make sure it covers. Try not to get too artistic here, but